Hello everyone, welcome to the video. In this video, we will be discussing the latest updates regarding the second stimulus check or the second stimulus bill that is currently being discussed in Congress. They're also calling it the HEALS Act. So I have gone through the internet and found the most relevant and most important information to share with you guys. Before we dive deeper into this video and discuss what we know so far, just a few things I want to mention: that this is not a political channel. This is a channel on personal finance and investing. So obviously we'll be talking about different members of the Congress, the Democrats and Republicans. The sole purpose of that is just to discuss the stimulus check update. So please do not take it one way or another, and also let's keep it respectful towards the other political party in the comment section below, regardless of which political party you support. So with that being said, let's dive right into it. So the first article we'll be looking at is from foxbusiness.com. Trump says second stimulus check could be way higher than $1,200. President Trump suggested this week the next coronavirus relief package could include a direct cash payment for American families that's potentially higher than $1,200. So here's a direct quote from President Trump. "It may go higher than that, actually. I'd like to see it be very high because I love the people. I want the people to get it." Trump did not say how much money he's envisioning for the second round of stimulus checks. Congress and the White House kickstarted negotiations this week after Senate Republicans unveiled the HEALS Act, estimated to cost about $1 trillion. But Trump told reporters earlier in the day the two sides are so far apart on what they think needs to be included in the fifth round of emergency aid. His priorities for those relief measures, he said, are an eviction moratorium and direct payments. Senate Republicans' proposal, which they rolled out on Monday, would allocate another round of $1,200 of direct payments to American families with the necessary qualifications clearly identical to the first stimulus check. So it seems like President Donald Trump is pushing to get a higher payment than $1,200, but we'll see what it comes to be. And we will talk in more details in some of the other articles I will discuss in this video regarding the qualification criteria. Individuals who earn a gross adjusted income of up to $75,000 and couples earning $150,000 would receive the full $1,200 or $2,400 payment respectively. For high earners, the checks would be reduced by $5 for every $100 in income and phased out entirely at $99,000 and $198,000 respectively. The proposals also modify the stimulus checks so the families with dependents over the age of 17 who were excluded from the previous payments. A frequent criticism of the CARES Act will be able to receive the extra $500. For instance, a married couple with 2 children would receive up to $3,400. So in the first stimulus check, only dependents under the age of 17 were qualified, but seems like in this second round, dependents that are over the age of 17, maybe college-going students, or maybe elderly senior citizens, parents, they could be included in this bill as well. It's unclear whether the HEALS Act has a limit on how many dependent payments a single household can receive. The House passed HEROES Act in May, capped them at 3 or an additional $3,600. But Democrats and Republicans appear to remain at loggerheads over specific provisions for the next stimulus bill. So I hope for everyone's sake that both parties can come together and can iron out a bill really fast, because as I've discussed in my previous video, I'll link that in the iCard here, that Senate goes into recess on August 7th. So if they are unable to reach a decision by then, we could be looking at a prolonged delay, which nobody really wants. So I will link that in the iCard here. So if you guys want to check out the information that we discussed there, that's a good video to check out. Before I move on to the next news article, I just want to mention if you have some useful info, put them in the comments below. A useful article or useful news information, help out the community. Please leave them in the comments below for others to find. And if you think someone will find this video useful, please share it with them. All right, the next article is from Fox 32 Chicago. Second stimulus check details revealed. Who is eligible? The GOP unveiled details for a second round of direct payments to American households on Monday in legislation that has been dubbed the HEALS Act. If you qualified for a check in the first round, you're likely up for a second payment, perhaps for an even larger amount. The checks will largely follow the same guidelines as those issued in the CARES Act. So this is something that we've discussed, so we'll not waste your time talking about it. The difference with this round of payments is that there will be no age cap on eligible dependents. While the CARES Act only allowed the additional $500 to be allocated for families with dependent children, now households will be able to claim the additional $500 for dependents of any age. In order to receive the benefit, an individual must have a work-eligible Social Security number, and he or she cannot be a dependent of another taxpayer. So must have a work-eligible Social Security number. This is an important point to note. While the IRS ran into a few challenges issuing the first round of checks, by keeping the criteria largely the same, the tax agency would presumably be able to get out a second round more quickly. Lawmakers also clarified a number of issues. For example, the legislation stipulates that rebates are not subject to administrative offset for past debts, with the exception of past due child support. The cash is protected from bank garnishment or levy by private creditors or debt collectors, which would be applied retroactively to the CARES Act money. So if you are not behind on your child support, the amount of money that you're supposed to get, you are protected under most cases. Also, it clarified that anyone who died prior to January 2020 is not eligible for a payment, nor is anyone who's incarcerated at the time the payment is processed by the Treasury or anyone who is imprisoned for the duration of 2020. So this is a point to note. I don't know if it applies to you or your loved ones or anyone you know, but if someone passed away before January of 2020, they're not eligible. If someone is currently in jail or incarcerated, they would not be eligible under this proposal as well. All right, so before we move on to the next article, I just want to mention that I will link all this article in the description of this video. So if you want to do your own research, read them on your own, or follow the URLs that are shared in these articles, you would be able to do that very easily. Okay, so the next article is a little more detailed. This is from CNBC.com. How the $1,200 stimulus checks in the HEALS Act could differ from the first payments. A second round of $1,200 stimulus checks could be coming thanks to Senate Republicans' new stimulus proposal. The terms of the new payments were outlined in the HEALS Act, introduced by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on Monday. Democrats also called for another round of $1,200 payment in their HEROES Act that was passed by the House in May. The second set of stimulus checks is one issue both sides of the aisle seems to agree on, as they worked to compromise on other items such as expanded unemployment, more government PPP loans to small businesses, and aid to help schools reopen. So seems like both Democrats and Republicans agree on a second set of stimulus checks, which is great news for everyone. Seems like it's on the little details that they are far apart on. That's why both parties are coming together to work it out. That's what all the negotiation is about, to basically iron out and agree on the details. This is an area, sort of an exception here, where there is broad understanding for the need for these payments. Garrett Watson, senior policy analyst at the Tax Foundation, said of the stimulus payment, much of the size of the payments and scope of who will be eligible is the same in the Republicans' proposal as the first set of payments authorized by the CARES Act this spring. It's on the little details that things have changed. Amounts and phase-outs, so we did discuss it in the previous article, so we will not be going over this. More dependents eligible, so we also discussed that as well. Non-citizens still ineligible. While the Democrats had called for making non-citizens eligible for both the first and second stimulus checks, the Republicans did not. Specifically, those who do not have social security numbers or who are non-resident aliens are excluded from receiving payments. The one exception is for certain resident aliens, provided they hold that status as of 2020 and have a valid social security number. One sticking point has been whether Americans who are married to non-citizens and who file their tax returns jointly should be eligible for stimulus payments. Under the CARES Act, those individuals and their dependents were shut out. One proposal by Senator Marco Rubio called for making Americans who are married to non-citizens eligible for the money. That would also include their children, provided they are American citizens. This might be an area where the Democrats might push back, Watson said. If there was going to be a change, that would be the first place to start. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you think non-citizens should be eligible for this payment. Once again, let's be respectful towards the other party, whoever that is. If you agree or disagree with that, that's fine. Just let me know in the comments below. Rules for debtors. The Republican plan protects the stimulus checks from federal or state debt collection as well as bank garnishment. The one exception would be unpaid child support. This change would not be retroactive to the first set of payments according to the Republican plan, but it could provide more clarity for banks and other financial institutions now that there is guidance to follow. Restrictions for dead people and prisoners. Anyone who died prior to 1st of January 2020 would not be eligible for a stimulus payment according to the Republican plan. The Treasury Department has said that the heirs of people who died before they received the money were not eligible to keep it. One outstanding question is how the agency would apply the new rule if enacted. Prisoners would also largely be shut out from receiving any money if they're imprisoned at the time the payment is made or are incarcerated throughout 2020. Both of these changes would apply retroactively to the first stimulus payments. Trump's signature stands. President Donald Trump's signature was featured prominently on the first set of paper checks. The Democrats called for leaving that off the second round of payments in the legislation passed by the House. The change was not included in Senate Republican plan. Guys, I think this is a very detailed and a great article. As always, I will leave that in the description. So if you want to check it out on your own, please feel free to do so. So guys, that's all the latest news we have to discuss today. As more information comes to light, I will create more update videos to keep you guys posted. So if you guys like stimulus check or the HEALS Act updates, feel free to subscribe to this channel so you always know when these videos come out. And if you guys found this video helpful or at the very least interesting, give it a thumbs up and feel free to share it with someone who might find this video helpful. So that's it for this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.